Set. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the Binghamton City Council special business meeting, 12 p.m. Wednesday, 27 December 2023. City Council chambers, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Before we move forward with the agenda, I just want to get publicly on the record. We are recording right now. We are experiencing some technical difficulties with respect to the live streaming portion in relation to YouTube. Madam and Deputy Clerk, please make sure that the entirety of this video recording of the entirety of the meeting is placed up for public consumption on the City of Binghamton YouTube channel. With that being said, Clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resonetti. Present. Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilmember Friedman is absent. Councilman Burns is absent. Councilman Strawn.
Present.
Councilman Scanlon.
Present.
And President Scringy.
Present.
That's 4 here, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we will begin public comment. Residents wishing to submit public comment may do so electronically for special business meetings by emailing their comments prior to 10 a.m. on the day of the meeting to clerk@cityofbinghamton.gov or in person during the meeting. As no electronic forms of communication were received, be happy to open up public comment at this time. Please be mindful for anyone speaking in person. You have 5 minutes to speak. Please state your name, whether you work and or reside in the City of Binghamton, and per Chapter 26 of the City Charter, being a special business meeting, public comment is only relevant to requests for legislation that are on the agenda. Councilman-elect, good afternoon. How are you?
All right. I'm Nate Hotchkiss.
Floor is yours.
I live and work in the City of Binghamton. So last week I came down here with the plea of asking that all of this legislation be held over so that the new city council could have the chance to evaluate these various proposals. I was happy to see that it was held over. I'm kind of disappointed that there's a special business meeting you guys are gonna vote on this right now. So again, I'm just gonna basically repeat what I said then. I spent a lot of time getting to know the residents, their opinions on all these different issues. I think these are represent some really hot button issues with the community on the north side, specifically town and country. So we have all this money that we're giving to Exact Capital. It's really just frustrating to me that I think we were at the same spot 2 years ago, right? We allocated this money to this group who was supposed to be purchasing this and do all this renovations. All these promises were made. And then I don't know what happened in between, but really there haven't been any significant renovations. All the problems that have persisted there continue to persist. There's tons of vacancy in that building. There's like pest problems. There's dead trees that have limbs that fall on people's cars. Any number of things that are wrong with housing, they all exist at town and country, and they continue to exist and continue to persist. So I'm really frustrated that we were here at this point, like 2 years ago. You allocated this money, there was promises made, and then nothing really happened. And the last time I spoke with a representative from the property management group, they said that renovations were going to begin in August of this year. And now we're hearing that they're going to start in July of next year. I know like things get hung up. I'm sure it's extremely complicated trying to get low income tax credits, and it's an extremely competitive process, but I'm struggling to see how we're in a different position than we were 2 years ago. And I don't have much confidence in the letter that was produced on the agenda that's stating that they've secured $37 million. And then the mayor is saying that we're planning on having a $55 million project. And if we're to just allocate this 3 million, it doesn't line up for me. And I don't think enough due diligence is being done. And $3 million is not an insignificant amount of money for the city of Binghamton to be allocating. And I've spoken with the mayor, he knows this, that I would like to see how they plan to spend this money, like what the timeline is, like where are the letters that they're actually securing this money before we're to make this allocation. So that's one thing. The other thing is the greater opportunities. I know it's really the new building on Liberty and Munsell Street has really been touted as like a success. We renovated this old like eyesore. There's people that are in there that have struggled with whatever, whether they're formerly incarcerated or they had like substance use problems, formerly homeless, or if they're like veterans that need housing. I think it's touted as a success for like the broader Binghamton community, but realistically, when you talk to people in that neighborhood, they're kind of overwhelmed with supportive housing. Like on the other end of the street on Munsell, there's the VOA, which like, again, that's supportive housing. If you go up Liberty Street, there's the Family Enrichment Network Housing Connection. That's another like supportive housing place. There's Metro Interfaith Housing again on Munsell Street. And so there's just like, we have a real concentration of supportive housing, and which like I love housing, I love supportive housing, but like I don't think that it should all be concentrated in one area that's already very distressed. I spoke with a number of the tenants that live there and that are in recovery, and from their perspective, the neighborhood doesn't make being in recovery any easier.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you. So generally, I think the homeowners in the area would like the city to really expand their approach to supportive housing and not just have it all concentrated on the north side. I know there's like a lot of homes there that can be renovated and be redeveloped and have initiatives that the Greater Opportunities works on, but I think that task should be shared throughout all the districts in the city. And I think that's really what they would like to see. And as someone that was elected to represent them, I would like to see that happen too. What else do we have? And I think, yeah, it'd be great. The Boscov's money, I don't think that's a great use of American Rescue Plan funds. I would like to have the opportunity to evaluate that further with my colleagues in the coming year, but yep. It'd be great if you guys could vote this down, but I don't have a lot of faith that that's going to happen. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wishing to speak during public comment? Anyone else? All right, seeing none, move forward from public comment and we will move on to second read legislation. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory ordinance 23-170.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory ordinance 23-170, ordinance to amend the 2023 budget to allocate American Rescue Plan Act funds to support greater opportunities for Broome and Shenango.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Rezanetti. Discussion. Seeing none, is the question called?
All questions, President?
Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Rezanetti. Aye. Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilmember Friedman is absent. Councilman Burns is absent. Councilman Strawn.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
And President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory ordinance 23-170 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory ordinance 23-174.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory ordinance 23-174, an ordinance to amend the 2023 general fund budget to allocate American Rescue Plan Act funds for marketing, promotions, and tourism in the city.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilman Strawn. Council discussion.
Call the question, Mr. President.
Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Rezanetti. Aye. Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilmember Friedman is absent. Councilman Burns is absent. Councilman Strawn.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory ordinance 23-174 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory ordinance 23-176.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory ordinance 23-176, an ordinance to amend the 2023 general fund budget to use for lost revenue funds for the American Rescue Plan Act for the rehabilitation of 11 Court Street.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilman Strawn. Discussion.
Call the question, Mr. President?
Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley is absent, Councilmember Friedman is absent, Councilman Burns is absent, Councilman Strawn,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory ordinance 23-176 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory resolution 23-96.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory resolution 23-96, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Greater Opportunities for Broome and Shenango to support affordable and senior housing projects on Muscle Street.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Resonetti. Any discussion?
Call the question, Mr. President?
Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley is absent, Councilmember Friedman is absent, Councilman Burns is absent, Councilman Strawn.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Introductory resolution 23-96 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory resolution 23-98.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory resolution 23-98, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with the Greater Binghamton Chamber of Commerce for supporting marketing, promotions, and tourism in the city for the years 2024, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Resonetti. Discussion.
Call the question, Mr. President?
The question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley is absent, Councilmember Friedman is absent, Councilman Burns is absent, Councilman Strawn.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory resolution 23-98 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory resolution 23-99.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory resolution 23-99. Resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Binghamton Local Development Corporation for the rehabilitation of 11 Court Street.
Second.
Motioned by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Resonetti. Council discussion.
Call the question, Mr. President?
Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley is absent, Councilmember Friedman is absent, Councilman Burns is absent, Councilman Strawn,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Introductory resolution 23-99 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding introductory resolution 23-100.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory resolution 23-100. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a parking agreement with the Boscov's Department Store LLC for parking at the Water Street parking garage.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motioned by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Resonetti. Discussion.
Call the question, Mr. President?
If I may, Councilman, my apologies.
Yep.
So I just want to add, obviously, if any of my colleagues have anything that they'd like to add to this. You know, being on this body for 8 years, one of the things that I have heard from not just an incredible amount of residents and constituents in the first district, but all over this city is just the sheer magnitude of the uncertainty of what it is to have a Boscov's in our downtown. And the amount of resources and the people that have worked so hard to codify this at the local level and at the municipal level when I look past it all the 8 years, and I know all of my colleagues are going to remember this. Do you remember when we used to have the 1-year contingency extension plans for the lease? Do you remember that? Right? And all of the work that so many people and so many organizations to try to keep such a treasure like this that we have in our downtown, right? And it took all this time and it's finally coming to fruition. That's powerful, isn't it? Right? The fact that we've been able to work together to bring this to a head, to bring this to have such an important facade, an important landmark that has been in our downtown for years, and to finally give it some certainty. And I know over my time, I've crossed with 2 mayors on this, and I know it's even preceded 2 mayors. But Mayor Cram, well done. Assemblywoman Lepardo, well done. I know there's a lot of people that went into this, and it was a very bipartisan effort. So it's an incredible feeling to be able to look at our constituents and say that, as we're finishing out our term, we were able to codify and solidify something that has been wanted and needed for such a long time. And I don't know, I just felt that that was important to put on the record. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything, but thank you.
All the questions, President?
Questions have been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Ressenetti? Aye. Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilmember Friedman is absent. Councilman Burns is absent. Councilman Strawn.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
And President Scringy.
Aye.
It's 4 ayes, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Introductory Resolution 23-100 passes. Chair recognizes Councilman Scanlon for the purposes of a motion regarding Introductory Resolution 23-102.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introductory Resolution 23-102, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Exact Capital to support an affordable housing and rehabilitation project.
Motion by Councilman Scanlon, seconded by Councilwoman Ressenetti. Discussion.
Call a question, Mr. President?
Question's been called. The clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Ressenetti. Aye. Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilmember Friedman is absent. Councilman Burns is absent. Councilman Strawn.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
And President Scringy.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Introductory Resolution 23-102 passes. Madam Clerk, thank you very, very much. Deputy Clerk, thank you very, very much. I want to wish all of you a very, very happy new year to all of our residents and our constituents. I want to give Councilwoman Riley and Councilwoman Friedman and Councilman Burns my best. It's been a pleasure to serve with them, and Councilwoman Ressenetti, Councilman Scanlon, Councilman Strawn. It has been an honor to work alongside with you and with you as well, Mayor Cram. With that being said, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Ressenetti, seconded by Councilman Strawn. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.